Hey, what's up? This is Chosen, and in this video, we are going to be revisiting to get version 3.0 of the sets tier list. It's been about 5 months or so since I really sat down and took a deep look at getting this thing up to date. So that's what this video is going to be, a quick discussion ranking these sets in the game and why I chose to rank them where I did. So let's get into it. Alrighty, so first of all, you are watching in the background. Why not throw up some footage on the screen? That is the Uragrim build. Currently, there is a Dragon event tournament type thing going on in game, so that's what's going to be in the background is my solo 25 Uragrim kind of grinding away. And then over there on the right side of the screen is the tier list for the different sets in the game. That's going to be up to date currently as of August 2021. So I'll kind of quickly go through these and just walk you through the thought process on ranking this stuff and kind of why. Divine Speed, in my opinion, it's the best set because obviously speed is speed. You need it in almost every build. There's very few niche builds where you don't need any speed and you're just kind of doing something meme or you're doing something like a campaign farmer where you're just gonna one shot each wave and then it's fine to have like 105 speed. Doesn't really matter. But for 99% of the time, you really want a good speed, and getting more speed is very rarely a bad thing. So the divine version of the speed set is obviously going to be number one, and then right behind that is the speed set. I actually used to rate the speed set number one, even above divine speed. And the reason was you can actually farm the speed set, so it's a lot easier to get enough pieces on your account to be able to work around. But people kind of convinced me, like, no, just rank the sets. Don't take into consideration the acquisition cost and how you can farm them and stuff. Just rank them in a vacuum in terms of like if you could just buy packs of it or something. And in that case, yeah, divine speed would be number one. So people kind of convinced me to just go ahead and rank the sets, but not take into account the acquisition costs and how easy you can farm them and stuff. So that's why I've got divine speed at 1 and speed at 2. Not to mention that 2-piece sets are a little bit better in terms of value because you can it's a lot more easy to get them into builds. It's a lot more easy to build champions around it. So you'll see a lot of things like 4-piece relentless and 2-piece divine speed, things like that. It gives you a lot more manipulation and a lot more flexibility to get 2-piece sets fit into builds better. So you see other games, sometimes they'll have like one set will have different set bonuses based on like 2, 3, or 4, or 6 pieces, which I think would be cool in Raid if it kind of slowly went up from 2, 3, and 4 or something. But in Raid, as we all know, it's either 2 or 4. There is no like 3 or 6 or different set bonuses based on the amount you're wearing. Then that next tier of sets, we've got the Swift Parry, the Perception, the Lethal, Bloodthirst, Relentless, Savage, Guardian. All of these are amazing sets. Once you get down to the bottom of the S tier, Stun, Immortal, and Lifesteal, a little bit more niche and a little bit more, I guess, Guardian. Yeah, the last 4 in the S tier, Guardian, Stun, Immortal, and Lifesteal are a little bit more niche, but those top 8 are really in a class of their own. Obviously, Swift Parry can be super clutch in the arena, and you get 18% speed, crit damage, and then a chance to go unkillable is never a bad thing. Perception, probably the best set they've added to the game in terms of helping early to mid-game players progress, be able to craft it in the Forge. Getting that 40 accuracy and a little bit of speed to boot is an amazing boost for lots of players when you don't have a really good Great Hall and you don't have good banners yet. Perception plus Lifesteal, amazing early game sets. Probably the 2 best sets in the game for early game. And then Lethal, wow. So Savage set, it was already insane. They're releasing a better beefed up version of the Savage set in the next iteration of the Doom Tower, I believe. That's not 100% confirmed, I don't know. But they are going to be adding the Lethal set to one of these upcoming iterations of the Doom Tower. And yeah, 25% ignore defense and crit rate. That's huge because a lot of times in these big, heavy damage dealing builds where you're going to be obviously something like a Savage when you've got Trunda, Royal Guard, something like that in a Savage set, then the tough part is to get that 100% crit threshold, and you want to wear crit damage a lot of times in those builds. So getting that extra 10% crit rate added onto the Savage set is actually an insane bonus because now we can wear the Savage set, which is basically going to be Lethal now, where Lethal and then crit damage gloves, and then we can slot the build a lot easier because we are able to get the 10% crit from the beefed up Savage set. So lethal is going to be absolutely insane. And I noticed that the numbers were a little bit off there, so I got that fixed. I believe they were both saying 6, but now it should be showing the numbers more accurately. So we got lethal at number 5. Bloodthirst. This is going to be a beefed up version of the Lifesteal set. The Lifesteal set's a really, really tough one to rank because it is god tier early game. It really helps you clear content that you would otherwise not be able to do. It's really good for some of those early to mid game clan boss compositions where you want to be able to sustain and heal yourself up every rotation that you're doing damage to the clan boss. So it's like a top 3 or 4 set early game. But then end game, it really falls off. So you kind of place it somewhere to get one nice universal tier list. You kind of place it somewhere in the middle. It's like, you know, 2 or 3 probably early game, whatever, 3 or 4. Then late game, it's probably like 25, 26. So you put it in there at 12. It's a tough one to rank. It's got a lot of variability between early game or end game. Then the Relentless set at 7. That's a tough one to rank. Obviously, we all know Relentless set is an amazing set. That's why Plarium chose to put it as the reward for tournaments, to have players really like have a lot of incentive to finish well in tournaments and spend their resources. And Relentless is one of those rare sets where you get 0 guaranteed value, but you're obviously granting an extra turn is just insane. So when it does happen, it is extremely impactful. There's really there's so many builds where Relentless fits in. You've got like a high speed Doom Priest with Relentless, cleansing those turns, cleansing debuffs, healing. Similar with Syl, throw in Relentless, and we're cycling through our abilities faster to get those stuns off and healing every turn. Anybody that's got a passive that's going to proc every turn for something that affects the whole team, Doom Priest, Syl, anything like that, Relentless is going to be an amazing choice. So obviously up in the S tier. Savage, we already talked about Guardian. I like Guardian a lot for like secret rooms where you're trying to do like a specialized kind of meme strategy to get something done. You throw in a tank to kind of help you absorb things, and that can help you progress in some secret rooms in the Doom Tower. Stun set, we all know the drill. It just helps you clear content you otherwise may not be able to, especially in like the Doom Tower. Faction Wars, you wait until you get good RNG. You wait until you get all those procs. You can bump that 18% up to 23 with the Fearsome Presence Mastery. 23% chance to stun on a 4-piece set. Really, really good. It can be extremely suppressive and high-speed builds that pair along with it. The Immortal set is growing on me. I moved it up a lot in this version because similar to Speed and Divine Speed, it's just so generally useful. You're not only getting the life, which is always good, but you're getting the healing every turn. And as you progress, you're going to get champions that are higher and higher speed. You're going to get more and more value. You can take more and more turns. So the Immortal set, you'll see a lot of builds. I call it a filler set. You throw in like 2 pieces of speed, 2 pieces of Immortal. That's a filler. You got your build, then you fill it in with a really useful 2-piece set. And Immortal is definitely, like, you can never have enough good Immortal pieces. You will definitely get value out of them. And I won't go over every single set in the game. This video would be an hour long, but I wanted to at least talk about the S tier sets and what I was thinking in terms of coming up with those up there at the top tier. Then you've got the break here at number 13 into the A tier. Obviously, all of these sets are very good. I thought a break for the B tier between accuracy and resistance would kind of make sense because accuracy and resistance, they do the same thing, 40 accuracy or 40 resistance, but the 40 accuracy, you tend to get a lot more value out of, especially early game, and those are more early game sets because once you're late game and you're building some higher resistance compositions, you've got better choices. Like you've got the Untouchable set here, which is amazing. Debuff immunity for 2 turns and 40 res. So you get some better options later on in the game where the resistance set isn't going to bring a whole lot of value because when it's a niche build like that, you build a lot more high accuracy champions than high resistance champions. So it's a lot easier to fill in with that GG gear of those 4-piece sets to make that happen when you do so. And don't forget, along with Lethal, they've actually got 3 sets in the game that are bringing resistance because they've got the Fortitude set as well, which is going to bring resistance and defense. So that really bumps down the resistance. I thought that would be a good opportunity to break between the A and the B tier. But then also, I put the Divine crit rate above the other ones, like Divine Life, Divine Offense. You kind of have them all clustered in there. I put the divine crit rate up a little bit because it is really important to be able to wear crit damage gloves in this game, and the divine crit rate set's going to help you do that and provide some shielding, which can actually be huge if you've got things. A lot of people forget, like if you got seer or nuke strategies, placing those shields can help the seer improve the damage. You get somebody with a shield set, you get somebody with divine, placing shields as well. You can do things that synergize with seer and make her hit even harder. So I bumped up the divine crit rate a little bit because of that. And I also did bump up Destroy from the C tier to the B tier. It's still kind of a meme dream, but there is at least some very niche strategies where you want some good pieces of Destroy. Things like the Scarab can make sense. So I did bump that up to the bottom of the B tier. Other than that, really from 25 on down to 46, not a whole lot changed. But I do also, before I let you go, I want to scroll over and show you. I have got the different dungeons in the game ranked. If I can scroll this over enough. There we go. So you can see here, it's like golf, the lower the better. So when you grade these different sets and plug them in and then average out a score, you can see here that the Fire Knight pretty easily #1 at 26.5 for the average set rank, which I guess makes sense because a lot of endgame players typically prefer to spend most of their energy in the Fire Knight. The Dragon, usually more early to mid-game players try to spend most of their time there, and obviously never a bad idea to grind the Dragon because you can get that speed set. Then the Golem, not really that bad for early game, but it is pretty consensus as thought of as the worst dungeon for people to grind tons of energy once they've got a developed account pretty reasonably ready to go. So it ended up kind of making sense. I didn't plan it that way. I just ranked the sets and then I put it in on the dungeons, and I would rank the dungeons like that. If you asked me to rank them, I would go Fire Knight, Dragon, and then Golem. So hey, at least that ended up making sense. But yeah, always fun to take a look at these different tier lists every few months. It's really hard to keep all the different resources up to date, but I try at least every couple months to really do a deep dive and get these things up to date. So I'm keeping resources out there that have had some attention to them recently. I need to also get on the tier list and probably do another version of that pretty soon here to really go through for a few hours and get that up to date. I do edit these things here and there, but probably a few nights a week I try to look at these things and do some small changes, but then every few months I try to really do a deep dive major change and crank out a video updating you as well. So if you have any things that you disagree with, like I said about the divine speed thing, I do listen to other people, I do listen to other input, and I will make changes based on that for sure. So it's not just like my opinion is my way or the highway and nothing else matters. I do listen to input. So if you take the time to give me some informed opinions, I really enjoy reading through that as well down in the comment section. And my sets tier list is always down below in the vid descriptions and stuff like that, where you can find it, and also on choflyelite.com that I'm in the process of revamping right now. You can find these resources up on the top right of that as well. So that'll do it, and as always, thank you for watching. Have a good rest of your day. Peace.